To the Maryland Hall of Fame on October 18. I'm so in.
Alyssa Smith get hit in the...
A timeout that Christy Sides is not happy about having to call.
His first touch backing her way in, and Boston banks it home.
Aaliyah Boston, if she's going to go one-on-one in the post, they're going to keep feeding her, and she's going to...
Had her 11th double-double of the season, and Clark hits it here as Carrington gets inside. The step-through shot won't fall.
And she created off the dribble on her own.
Jones deep position.
And she leads the league in unassisted baskets.
Clark and the Indiana Fever are gearing up to step onto the court at Mohegan Sun Arena for a moment they've waited years for, their first playoff appearance since 2016. The Fever didn't close out the regular season as they hoped, falling in a tight game against the Washington Mystics. But now, the stakes are higher. Facing the Connecticut Sun, who finished third in the standings and have the advantage of playing at home, this is where the real test begins. Well, they have already received a word of caution before they go out for the first-round battle. Recently, renowned sports commentator Ryan Ruocco weighed in on the Indiana Fever's upcoming playoff clash with the Connecticut Sun. While he acknowledged the immense potential and fighting spirit of Caitlyn Clark and her team, Ruocco didn't hesitate to highlight a key concern that could pose a challenge for the franchise as they head into this high-stakes matchup. Ruocco said.
Now, having said that, even though I think it's easy to say at this point she's already the best guard in the league, she and Indiana are going up against a Connecticut team that has unbelievable playoff experience and playoff success.
Ryan Ruocco's praise for Caitlyn Clark as the best guard shows her talent and ability to excel in this important playoff game.
Advantage of. They play every team tough in the playoffs. It doesn't matter who. Whether it's Vegas, the Liberty, Connecticut always plays you tough. I think you have to give them a little edge in the series.
It's no secret that the Connecticut Sun has been a playoff mainstay. They have made it to the playoffs for 8 consecutive years now, the longest active streak, even reaching the finals in 2022, where they fell to the Las Vegas Aces in a 3-1 series. Last season, they fought their way to the semifinals, but were ultimately knocked out by the New York Liberty, this year's top seed. Though the Sun has yet to win a championship, their consistent playoff appearances give them plenty of experience when it comes to strategy and navigating the high-pressure moments of postseason play. Ruocco also pointed out a potential area where Indiana might fall short in their first-round matchup, shedding light on a key weakness the Fever will need to address. Ryan Ruocco shared his thoughts on what to expect from the Fever in their upcoming playoff series, saying,
and it's hard to not see some of those tight moments and think about the way Indiana snipes at the refs, looks a little flustered, can look a little inexperienced, and not think that in tight games that could be an area.
Let's see what ESPNW tweeted. At Ryan Ruocco says he's confident in Caitlyn Clark's ability to lead the Fever in the playoffs, despite a tough matchup with the Sun. The ESPN expert's comments about playoff experience ring true when you consider that the Sun are making their 17th playoff appearance in just 26 seasons. Fever has made it 13 times in the past 25 years. But the real challenge here is that none of the Fever starters have made it to the playoffs. All of Sun starters have postseason experience for no less than 4 years, except for Dinoy Carrington, who will be making her 4th appearance this year. Moreover, with 4 of this lot becoming free agents after this season, it will be all the more of a drive for them to perform as a core team and finally make it after all the years of failure, as Rebecca Lobo earlier suggested on WNBA Hoop Streams. However, Ruocco previously highlighted a glimmer of hope for the Fever in their standout rookie. Ruocco said,
fact that they got that defensive attention all season long. She knows how to handle it. And I think you're going to see something much different than what we saw when Caitlyn started her career in Connecticut at the beginning of this regular season.
As the team's top scorer against the Sun, the Fever number 22's performance will be crucial for the team as they aim to recapture the magic of their 2012 playoff run.
What is Angel Reese doing on the 50 most influential people in sports figures? Are you kidding me? A woman that rebounds and shows up half naked to games. They're just anyway, there's so much I want. Just start with the Sports Illustrated cover and wait till have you looked at this, Steve, the list? and they got about 9 black women on this force. Flajay Johnson, some basketball player that raps at LSU, is one of the 50 most influential people in sports.
It's clear he doesn't think highly of her. Is Angel Reese really on the list of influential figures just for her appearance and rebounds? 2024 has been full of drama as well as dramatic moments in the WNBA with its highest visibility in a season. ESPN reported in July that viewership numbers for the W on the network had gone up by 183%. The league is in a new era, thanks to the high-stakes rivalry from past NCAA players Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark, and the never-ending narrative surrounding these two seems to have reached a boiling point. Sports Illustrated recently published its list of the 50 most influential figures in sports. From the W, the familiar rookies can be found on the list, but where they have been ranked by SI is what has grabbed attention. Alongside Clark and Reese, there is also Candace Parker, A'ja Wilson, and Dawn Staley, and the Rookie of the Year favorite is ranked below all of them. If you look at the Rookie of the Year rankings throughout the season, Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark were head-to-head when the season started. Hot on each other's heels after an uber-successful college career, both were bent on proving their abilities as pro athletes. But then somehow Clark pulled ahead in the race and is now largely the favorite to win, especially since Reese announced in the first week of September that she had a season-ending injury.
I fell on my hand when I got the EM1. When I fell back, fell on my hand, and it is a small crack in my bone. Basically, the doctors told me that I could either not get surgery or have surgery. The risk of not having surgery, I could literally have arthritis at 22 years old. That wasn't an option. The bone could literally crack and literally completely shatter. Right now, it's like a hairline, literally a hairline, like shatter, not even that big. But they're gonna put like a small little screw in it. And I wasn't going for it getting any bigger. And long term, I literally could have like not played anymore because my bone this is a very hard place to heal because the blood flow is like literally little to none. So that was an option. So I'm getting surgery.
But for Sports Illustrated, the Chicago Sky Stars' performance in the season has been historic. Not only is she ranked 9 places above Clark, but Reese has also featured on the cover of the magazine. While the Indiana Fever rookie is called a generational talent, and praise is showered for always bringing the attention back to what matters most, aka basketball, Clark somehow falls short among the current stars. There is, of course, the MVP favorite A'ja Wilson, who is described as the best pro women's basketball player in the world right now, having won everything there is to win, twice.
Jones trying to stop her. The fader, good! A'ja Wilson with 1,000 career points. And a timeout called to give her some love.
As we have seen in the last few years, Wilson has won the championship with the LV Aces twice and is aiming to do it again this year. She has 2 Olympic golds, 2 MVP awards, and 2 Defensive Player of the Year titles. Wilson is ranked 8 places above Caitlyn Clark and 2 below Angel Reese. Then there is former pro Candace Parker, who has been an analyst for TNT and NBA TV and even became Adidas president of women's basketball in May. Another former player and current coach, Dawn Staley, whose South Carolina Gamecocks actually beat Caitlyn Clark's Iowa last season. Other than these big names, even Juju Watkins of the USC Trojans and LSU's Flajay Johnson also got an honorable mention. The next generation of the WNBA stardom seems poised to make their entry into the Pro League. But meanwhile, the Angel Reese versus Caitlyn Clark debate seems endless. ESPN has usually favored Angel Reese over Caitlyn Clark, despite the Fever Guard having better numbers throughout the season. Yesterday, the network finally released an updated rankings list that gives praise where it's due. Fever and Hawkeye fans rejoice. Clark has taken over the #1 ranking among rookies according to the consensus of the advanced metrics, wrote Neil Payne. Clark's win shares, WS, at 3.0, and player efficiency rating, PER, at 5.2 are officially more than Reese's 2.8 and 3.9 respectively. But in a new storyline that has emerged in the saga of their rivalry, some off-court actions have once again caught the eye. Names like Renee Montgomery have in the past criticized Caitlyn Clark fans for going beyond basketball and delving too deep into the personal, and Reese reportedly liking a TikTok video claiming the same has riled up the W community. But it's as Kathy Engelbert put it in a controversial answer last week, rivalries are healthy for sports, but only so far as they're focused on the sport, aka the professional, rather than the personal.
We're not allowed anymore to show the #1 draft pick in the WNBA draft as opposed to Angel Reese, a woman who can't run. I mean, next time you watch Angel Reese play, yes, she can play. She's a good player, but she can't run. But we're not allowed to show the #1 pick in the draft, the most dynamic player, including everybody. Why? Well, because it's racist. Yes, it's racist according to the idiots. When will the madness end? I think it's on its way to ending. I do. I think that Netflix special last night showed that black folks can get on white folks on black folks, and everybody can laugh about it.
There has been a long-running rivalry between Reese and Clark going back to their days in college, but it's seemingly become very one-sided in the WNBA. Clark doesn't really ever mention Reese or the Chicago Sky. Meanwhile, Reese can't seem to stop using the Indiana Fever and WNBA sensation for attention. On the first episode of her podcast, Reese said,
So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful.
when it comes to people who like Clark. Now, she felt bad. TikTok user @TheLunctionLawyer shared a video claiming fans of Clark never cared about basketball. They only care about racism. No, this isn't a joke. TikTok user claimed in a recent video.
Oh, I am all in white people's business this week. Like, first Taylor Swift, now Caitlyn Clark. So Caitlyn Clark liked the Taylor Swift post. You know, the Taylor Swift post. And baby, all of a sudden, all of her alleged fans are withdrawing support. Like, they wanted her to be the face of racism so bad. Whole time, she just wanted to play basketball, get her sponsorships, and go home. Like, turns out she doesn't want to be the brand ambassador for hatred. And this really confirms that a lot of people were never Caitlyn fans. You were just Angel Reese haters. Let me say it again. You were never a Caitlyn fan. You were an Angel Reese hater. You didn't care about Caitlyn Clark's skills. You like the fact that she was a white woman performing exceptionally well in a sport dominated by black women. So instead of appreciating Caitlyn for being an incredible, talented player, it was all about being anti-Angel Reese. That's not weird to y'all? Y'all think that's weird? Anyway, I know Caitlyn wanted to tell y'all in her comment section that it's not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure, but you know, she kept it cute as a sponsored, well-paid, talented WNBA.
Angel Reese seems to agree with the idea that fans of Caitlyn Clark are racist. A gross attack on people who simply like enjoying watching Caitlyn Clark play basketball. Was that Reese's response? Nope. Instead of ignoring the post, she showed full support for it and wrote in the comments, "You left no crumbs." That's slang for saying someone nailed it. This is nothing short of disgusting behavior. If Angel Reese wanted to set an example, she would have denounced the video. Instead, she hopped into the comments and showed overwhelming support for a post claiming Clark's fans just wanted her to be the face of racism so bad. It's an insanely racist video, and instead of speaking out against it, Reese is endorsing it. There's simply no excuse. This shows how fandom can be influenced by racial bias. Do you think Angel Reese should expect more from herself and ask her fans to do the same?
And so I've talked about this with some other people. I felt like the Olympic break helped the Indiana Fever more than any other team. And I felt like the Olympic break really hurt Chicago. Because I thought before the break, Indiana was playing well, Chicago was playing well, and granted, there have been injuries and things like that. But since the Olympic break, this Indiana Fever team, to me, is a completely different team.
When it comes to stirring the pot, Cheryl Swoops is a name that quickly springs to mind. The WNBA icon has been a frequent source of debate with her comments, especially concerning rookie Caitlyn Clark. From dismissing Clark as merely a passer to ignoring her impact on the Indiana Fever's success, Swoops has been a vocal critic of the 2024 draft's top pick. Interestingly, she has shown a more positive side toward Clark's rival, Angel Reese, often praising her, yet it seems even Reese isn't immune to Swoops's critical eye now. The Houston Comets star appeared on the latest episode of the Gills Arena podcast, where Caitlyn Clark's performance came to be a segment of the discussion. While making her case, Swoops couldn't help but bring Angel Reese into the conversation. The 4X champion accepts that the Sky rookie has been impressive with her game, but not dominant like she used to be in college. Same went for Clark. Swoops said,
And everybody wants to compare Caitlyn to Angel, which to me I hate because they're two totally different players. Angel Reese was drafted number 7 to Chicago. Not a lot of expectations. People were like,
Slipped in the draft.
She slipped in the draft. She couldn't score in college, all of that. There was no way I thought Angel was going to come into the league and be dominant.
Drafted as the 7th pick, the Sky forward quickly made waves in the league, setting a new single-season rebound record and becoming a strong contender for Rookie of the Year, going head-to-head with the Fever's number 22. She was also making a strong impact with averages of 13.6 points and 1.9 assists per game. However, Swoops highlighted,
and be dominant, which she wasn't. But Angel's game, her offensive game, everybody knows this, has never been, it wasn't even that great in college, right? So yes, she has to work on that. There are things Caitlyn has to work on.
The rookie did struggle with her shooting and took in a few criticisms as well. Sue Bird believes she has the potential to improve on that as well, so Swoops makes it clear that Reese has her strong points, calling her one of the best rebounders, but she has room for improvement too. Something she suggests in her view of Caitlyn Clark as well. In a recent episode of Gil Arena's podcast, the spotlight was firmly on Caitlyn Clark's rookie season. As the discussion delved into the Indiana Fever star's impressive stats and initial challenges, Cheryl Swoops shared her trademark take on the rookie. While acknowledging Clark's solid performance, Swoops noted that she's doing well but has yet to truly dominate the league. Swoops said,
15, 16 boards a game easy, right? So I look at
13.1 rebounds.
So I'm looking at Caitlyn.
She also elaborated on her stance, recalling her earlier comments where she predicted neither Caitlyn Clark nor fellow rookie Angel Reese would make an immediate impact in the WNBA.
Right? And so, because I know people are like, oh my God, you said she wouldn't be good. But I didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlyn or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
Yeah.
But
you weren't the only one who said that, too. I think a lot of people felt that when you talk to a lot of players in the W, it's like, look, it's hard for rookies to make that transition from college to the W.
Gino said it, too. Gino
Auriemma
said it, and, you know.
But
it's unfortunate.
But you said it, but you're saying it. Dominate, right? When we're talking about Caitlyn, we're talking about when she said dominate. When we're saying dominate, we're thinking what she does in college.
Score the ball.
She's dominated college, right?
No, she dominated in college.
She dominated. So when she says you won't come here and dominate off the rip, averaging 17 is not dominated compared to averaging 30-something for 4 straight years.
But that was also like the first half of the season.
However, despite Swoops' skepticism, Caitlyn Clark has made waves in the WNBA record books, and not just as a rookie. She set the league record with 321 single-season assists and achieved a remarkable 19 assists in a single game. On top of that, she's the fastest player ever to hit 300 assists. Dominant or not, the two rookies definitely make their mark.
And when Angel Reese comes out and says, she ain't the only one everybody's watching, they're watching me too, they're watching others, a day later she gets ejected.
I'm still a human, like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day, I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like...
Won a national title. She didn't celebrate with her teammates. She mocked Caitlyn Clark. So there's jealousy there. I certainly see that with her. I don't know about the league.
Angel Reese really lost her temper after the experts criticized her, and honestly, it was about time. She's been talking down Caitlyn Clark's amazing game, calling her 35 points just a fluke. Really, Angel? 35 points and you think that's just a fluke? If luck was all it took, maybe you should look for yours because it's not showing up on the court. And remember when you couldn't handle Caitlyn's great performance in front of you? So you ended up hitting her during the Indiana game.
Yeah, that's right.
Reese is being reviewed for a possible upgrade to a flagrant.
I think it'll be upgraded here.
That's right, that moment of jealousy really cost your team the entire game. At least Clark is out there breaking records, not causing trouble. And now the experts aren't staying quiet anymore. Now she looks classless. If you're going to say that Angel is being criticized because she's black while Caitlyn gets attention for being white, let's talk about Stephen A. Smith for a moment. He's not shy about sharing his opinions, and guess what? He's black too. This guy doesn't hold back against anyone, and Angel is no exception. If you want to find the toughest critic of Angel, it's this man right here.
She happens to be a terrific talent who's white and very, very marketable. The combination of the two things make her the golden goose for the WNBA. Go after her, compete with her, get the better of her at every turn.
Stephen A. Smith has been on a serious rampage, making video after video, practically putting Angel's performance on trial. And it's not just random opinions either. He's sharing stats, breaking down game footage, and showing why Caitlyn Clark is in a whole different league. It's like Stephen has turned into a professor, explaining play-by-play why Clark is so much better. And Angel, she's definitely struggling with it. Instead of focusing on improving her game, she's busy trying to promote herself.
Jealousy, envy, resentment, it's all justifiable because there were people that were pounding the pavement and going through so much to help elevate the WNBA's profile long before Caitlyn Clark ever came along, and yet were denied that level of recognition and that level of appreciation. The bottom line is, since Caitlyn Clark is the one here now,
Angel even had a breakdown in a recent interview, crying about how experts like Stephen are trying to humiliate her.
I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times.
She claimed they're sexualizing her, and that's a serious allegation.
Death threats, I've been sexualized,
But instead of accepting that Caitlyn Clark is getting attention because she's doing great on the court, Angel is avoiding the truth like it's a bad pass. Stephen A. isn't making personal attacks. He's just stating the facts. Caitlyn is dominating, and Angel needs to face that. And it's not just Stephen. Angel is being called out from all sides in the sports world. But instead of taking it well and working on her game, she's acting like a victim, as if everyone is picking on her. Seriously? You're in the WNBA where competition is tough, and the moment someone points out your mistakes, you start complaining? It's crazy.
in the WNBA at this particular moment in time, it's $250,000 to a player. Caitlyn Clark is already committed to $28 million in endorsement deals, at least. Look at the wave that she's created. Look at the profile that it has granted the WNBA. Look at the record ratings they've produced because of her arrival.
Just look at the recent game against the Dallas Wings. Caitlyn Clark scored 35 points and led her team to a 1-point win with an amazing run in the fourth quarter. Every time she steps on the court, she's making history. Meanwhile, Angel, she's just complaining about how people are being mean. At this point, it's not even close. And Stephen A. Smith is the loudest one reminding us of that. He's breaking it down with clear facts. Clark is outperforming Reese in every important way.
But I do think that she's benefited. The WNBA has benefited from Caitlyn Clark and the publicity.
But for some reason, Angel can't seem to accept this. She still believes she's the face of the WNBA, thinking anyone who disagrees is attacking her. Experts like Stephen A. aren't trying to bring her down. They're just offering a needed reality check. They're saying, you have skills, but you're not the best at the moment. Work on getting better instead of playing the victim. But Angel? She's too focused on defending herself from imaginary attacks to see the real competition on the court. And right now, she's not winning.
The ratings for the WNBA draft was 2.446 million, which was the largest in WNBA history. The doubleheader that opened the season generated over 1.5 million viewers, which was more than the WNBA had accumulated in more than 2 decades. You have all of this stuff going on. Understand, Caitlyn Clark is different.
The more Caitlyn shines, the more Angel complains. Each time Clark sets a new record, Angel dives into another dramatic rant. It's a regular occurrence. Caitlyn is on top, and Angel is losing control. While Stephen A. Smith and others are trying to get her to look at the facts, Angel is too focused on her own story to listen. Instead of facing the truth, she feels like everyone is against her, but she's just not keeping up with Caitlyn Clark's rapid success.
Go back to when she won a national title. She didn't celebrate with her teammates. She mocked Caitlyn Clark. So there's jealousy there. I certainly see that with her. I don't know about the league.
Then there's Patrick Bet-David sharing some hard truths, and let's be honest, things aren't looking good for Angel. According to Patrick, Angel's jealousy is so clear that it shows in every post-game interview she does. You can really see it in her reactions whenever someone mentions Caitlyn's name.
Can you kind of, on the flagrant, did you feel like that?
The basketball play.
Yeah. Did you feel like that was the appropriate call or?
It's a basketball play. I can't control the refs. They affected the game obviously a lot tonight. So.
But it did look at it like you were going for the ball.
I mean, I'm always going for the ball, but y'all gonna play that clip, 20 times before Monday?
And can you blame her? Reporters don't even ask about her performance anymore. It's all about Caitlyn Clark now. That's got to hurt, especially for a rookie like Angel who wants to shine, but finds her spotlight taken by Clark, who's putting up amazing numbers like it's nothing. Whenever someone asks Angel about her own game, she makes it sound much more impressive than it really is.
You can't teach that. I'm going to go out and do whatever it takes to win, and every single night, my teammates rely on my energy. So being able to continue the energy, even if we're down, even if we're up, that's what I do.
Patrick Bet-David hit the mark when he said Angel is going through a major recognition crisis. Sure, she's talented, but Caitlyn Clark? She's breaking records and making headlines like it's nothing.
Everything that she gets. Like, I understand there's all these storylines here. I try to keep it to what I see on the floor.
Meanwhile, Reese's interviews have turned into a place for her to express how unfair it is to constantly be compared to Clark. Her frustration is clear, but honestly, it's starting to feel repetitive. We understand, Angel. You believe the media is obsessed with Caitlyn. But is it truly unfair? Or is Clark just that impressive? Can we really blame the media for focusing on this? I mean, Clark's stats don't just speak, they shout. And this isn't just a one-time occurrence. Every time Clark plays, she's either breaking another record or showcasing her skills.
And then, her forearm came down and hit Caitlyn Clark.
Let's be honest. The source of Angel's frustration is pretty obvious. It's not just that Caitlyn is talented, it's that Caitlyn is better. Angel sees all the attention going to Clark, and it's driving her crazy. Every press conference feels like a tribute to Caitlyn, while Angel is left out, both on the court and in the spotlight. Patrick Bet-David really nailed it when he asked if it should have been called a flagrant foul.
Should it have been upgraded to a flagrant? I understand. Now, you can't factor in that Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese don't have a good relationship, and Angel Reese has mocked Caitlyn Clark, has roughed up Caitlyn Clark a couple of times, but that shouldn't factor in if it's a flagrant one or not.
But it's also true. What's wild is how obvious Angel's frustration has become. You can hear it in her voice whenever she talks about how unfair it is that Clark is getting all the praise. But here's the catch. It's not unfair at all. Clark is playing at a level that deserves attention, and the only person Angel should be upset with is herself for not keeping pace. Take that recent 11-point run by Clark in the fourth quarter. That wasn't just talent, it showed mental toughness, the kind that sets the great apart from the good. Angel hasn't had a moment like that this season, and until she does, she'll keep being asked about Clark. It's almost ironic. The more Angel complains about being compared to Caitlyn, the more she highlights that Caitlyn is the one raising the standard.
Not everybody gets it just because, hey, I put in 10 years in the WNBA or the PGA Tour or the NBA. It doesn't work that way. It's supply and demand. Do they want to buy your shoes or do they not? Do they want to play your basketball? Do they want to play with a Wilson? I mean, that's what this is about. It's not, I'm better than her. Maybe you are.
The media and experts are just responding to what's happening on the court. They're not targeting Angel for fun. They're simply stating the facts. If Clark is playing legendary basketball while Angel is just going through the motions, it makes sense that Clark gets all the attention. Patrick Bet-David made it clear. Angel's real problem is that she isn't ready to accept that Caitlyn Clark is the future of the league. Until she does, she'll keep getting caught up in jealousy. And we can't overlook Gino Auriemma. When one of the greatest coaches in basketball speaks, people pay attention.
You have to factor that in, I think, or people have factored that in, I should say. That is she doing this? Would she have done this to somebody else? I don't know that. Do I think it's a basketball move? I do,
This guy didn't achieve greatness by sugarcoating anything. When he discussed the Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark debate, he was completely honest. His remarks? Harsh, but accurate. Gino said that Reese's attitude is part of the issue, and honestly, he's right. He stressed that the WNBA isn't a place for entitlement. If Reese thinks she's already reached the top, she has a surprise waiting for her.
I think she's handling great. I think she talks a lot of and she gets a lot of back. So she deserves everything she gets because she gives it as good as she gets it. She's just not built for the physicality of this league. Yeah, and she's not quick enough to get away from the physicality. So there's a lot of learning curve, like Diana said.
Gino, who has coached legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Breanna Stewart, has seen it all. When he speaks, you know he backs it up with facts. In an interview on September 12, 2024, he called out Reese for acting like she's already successful. Gino pointed out that there's a big difference between being a star and being a superstar, and right now, Reese hasn't grasped that distinction.
And when she gets it, she has elite skills that are going to really help her.
Yeah,
but she needs to be on a better. She needs to be on a better team.
Auriemma's criticism hits harder than most because of his experience. He's coached superstars who didn't just have a few impressive games, they built legendary careers, and he knows what it takes to be great consistently. Right now, he sees Reese as someone too focused on believing she's already made it. In contrast, Caitlyn Clark? Gino can't stop praising her dedication and work ethic. He pointed out that Clark didn't get where she is by waiting for attention. She worked for it, and Reese should take note. This is the same coach who shaped Breanna Stewart into one of the best players ever. Gino understands how to elevate talented players to stardom, and his remarks about Reese versus Clark, they're not just suggestions, they're facts.
She couldn't play.
I must admit, I lost a little respect for Caitlyn Clark. I thought she was it.
Cheryl Swoops was discussing the Indiana Fever on a podcast.
Okay.
And she was like, in the Fever, they've just been tremendous. And she started naming players. And she named like every player except Caitlyn Clark. Okay. She wouldn't mention her name.
Yeah, true hater.
Caitlyn Clark has been unstoppable after setting another record on September 14th. And it's incredible to see how some people are reacting. They're just ridiculous. Seriously, why are so many jealous players and commentators struggling with her success? Every time someone criticizes her, they seem more desperate. Why is it so difficult to admit that she's dominating the league, setting records, and making everyone else look like beginners?
Here you go, the Caitlyn Clark, she is bringing all this revenue into the league, and then what's this? Petty jealousy, people smashing her, with these hard fouls, people on the bench, Angel Reese jumps up cheering like, can you imagine? LeBron James jumped up, it is like so classless.
Caitlyn Clark doesn't just rise above the criticism, she demolishes it. All these so-called critics are only showing one thing: they can't keep up. While she's out there making history, they're busy making excuses. It's honestly embarrassing for them. The more they talk, the more they reveal themselves as nothing but jealous, irrelevant background noise. Take Molly Karam from ESPN, for instance. She couldn't stand seeing Caitlyn Clark get the spotlight she deserves. Instead, she had to jump in, insisting that other players should get the same praise and attention, regardless of their performance.
It was just she was receiving all the accolades, the praise for everything that was happening in the WNBA, and she hadn't even played a game yet. So people were just saying, respect who did it before, respect the other stars.
Like, really? You're actually upset that the most dominant player in the game is getting all the hype? Molly's out here throwing shade, claiming Clark hasn't even played a game yet, as if that changes how incredible Clark is on the court.
She couldn't play.
Molly, sweetheart, this isn't a charity. The spotlight goes to the best, and right now, that's Clark. She's breaking records and dominating the court, and yes, she's earned the praise. But here comes Molly, acting like Clark's success is an injustice to the rest of the league. Stephen A. Smith even had to call her out on it. But Molly? She just can't handle the truth. Honestly, Molly, maybe focus less on spreading the praise and more on accepting that Caitlyn Clark is simply that good.
And Molly, I'm disappointed in you. Because we've been this first.
What happened?
The kind of heat that me and Shannon have had to take. Molly, what's up?
And of course, Skip Bayless had to say something.
I must admit, I lost a little respect for Caitlyn Clark. I thought she was it.
Seriously? As if anyone asked for your suggestion in the first place. The world is out here celebrating Clark for her incredible skills, and Skip Bayless just has to slide in with his outdated, unsolicited hot takes. It's almost like he's trying to go against the grain just to stay relevant. Let's be real, Skip. You're just one of those few critics who can't handle Clark's success.